Hi, I'm Jeff, the creator of Blackout Lighting Console, and I'm going to show you some best practices to maximize your use of Blackout by showing you how I use Blackout. To start, if you're on a shoot crew, you have a set of fixtures that lives on your truck that you pull for every location that you go to. And that's probably the first design element of Blackout. When you start a new project, you start completely fresh except for your effect presets and macros, because those are global throughout the entire app. But when you create a new location within that show, your My Show Fixtures page is carried over. And that's because you usually have the same type of lights in the modes you want on a show, and you just want to repatch them as necessary for your different stages or locations you travel to that just have different setups. We will be adding some additional options to carry over favorites and your entire patch. This is the My Show Fixtures page, and it's where everything that you have patched in this location lives. As you can see, we only have dimmers in this location, so the only fixture that you are actually going to see is the dimmer fixture. Now, if I tap Add from Fixture Database and I were to patch in, say, an Orion 300 FS, let's just do it in mode 1 right now, and I go back to Add Fixtures to access My Show Fixtures, you see this profile now creates a local copy on this device. Now, if I were to add from Fixture Database and sync this again and say that profile changed, maybe the manufacturer updated their spec, or maybe we caught an error and we redid the profile, you can rest assured that this local copy will not have changed, which is why it is important to patch from this spot if you already have that profile in your location. Now, if you have another fixture that you haven't patched in this location yet, feel free to add from Fixture Database and go find it, because you will get the latest update from here. This My Show Fixtures page is also where your custom fixtures will live if you created them in this specific location. But you can now tap Add from Fixture Database, and if you sync the database, you can now manage all of your custom fixtures in this user custom folder. And that goes across projects. For this example, we're gonna have some Skypanels that live on our truck, assortment of Asteras, some ETC Series 3 Lustrs, some Kinos Celebs, some Q5s from Fiilex, some digital Sputniks, and then maybe a couple Ratpacs that both we and the riggers carry. Let's get to patching. So the first thing that I'm thinking about is, what do I want my fixture numbers or channel numbers for my fixtures to be? If you're on a feature, a lot of times the stages are small or don't use many dimmers because everything is LED. So if I save the first 100 channels for Ratpacs and miscellaneous tungsten fixtures, I can use anything over channel 100 for my fixtures. And I start my actual fixtures at 101 and go up every 50 or 100 level for every new fixture type. This makes it easy to differentiate between fixture types, and it makes it for easy recall as well. So the first thing that plays up in so many of my shows are Skypanels, so I'm going to start my Skypanels at 101. I'm gonna start by tapping Unpatch to clear my entire patch, and we're gonna start this fresh. So if I go ahead and tap Add Fixtures and Add from Fixture Database, I can navigate to the ARRI manufacturer, go to Skypanel, and the mode I like personally is mode 6. It's a 16-bit profile, so you get that nice fine dimmer control. You can go all the way down to 0.01%. And now I'm gonna start these again at channel 101, and I'm gonna do 8 of these. I'm also going to pick a color right here, and I'm gonna do that nice like ARRI blue, which maybe looks like that. And again, 101, there's 8 of these, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start these right at the beginning. Even though I'm leaving my first 100 channels open, again, channels are just for labeling purposes, for your labeling purposes, to know what that channel number represents in the real world. And that channel number is what you put on the back of your light, or that fixture number is what you put on the back of your light. The address is what you're actually going to dial into the menu of those lights. The addresses I want to fill up as tight as possible to save as much room most of the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap Save. And as you can see, here are my 8 Skypanels, and they are auto incremented by Blackout. But if I wanted to, I could further label these. So I know I have 2 S30s, so maybe I wanna make these S30 1 and 2. If I unselect and then I select the next 4, and these are my S60s. So I could do S60, 1 through 4, and then these are my 360s, and I could do S360 1 and 2. Boom. So now I have my sky panels nicely colored and labeled, and I can see here what fixtures they represent. Now we're gonna go back into patch and patch in our Asteras. I personally like to start my Astera tubes at 201. Tubes 201 kind of makes sense to me. So I'm gonna go add fixtures, add from fixture database, go to Astera, Titan tube, and I'm gonna pick my favorite mode, which is mode 89. I'm going to go ahead and patch this. I'm going to relabel this to just Titan right here. Again, I'm gonna start these at 201. A kit of these is 8, and I'm going to put these in the Astera purple. Boom. And again, they're going to go right after my ARRI units. And I'm going to tap save. And here are my Titans. And now my Helios is kind of a half of a tube, right? So 251, so 251 makes sense to me. So because they're the same profile, I can actually patch this from my show fixtures. So if I tap my show fixtures, I'm going to continue at the same address. These are going to be my Helios though this time. And then these are going to be 251. There's 8 of these. And I'm gonna make these just a little bit more light purple just to kind of differentiate between the two. There's light purple, dark purple, we can see here. And then I put my Astera Nix bulbs, if I only have 8 of them, I'll put them in the 290s just because everything in Astera is in the 200s. So if something's on battery power or we wanna save lights, and most of the time it's Asteras that you wanna save, I can just kill all of the 200 range, and it makes it super simple to do that. So I'm gonna add fixtures. And now I know that this profile, because it's the 1 pixel, is the same profile that is for the Nix bulb. In fact, if you go to add from fixture database and you go to Astera Nix bulb, you can see that it is actually mode 89. But I'm going to patch the one that I have in my show fixtures because it's going to help when I'm saving favorites. Now, a quick tidbit on favorites is that global favorites and universal favorites are 2 different things. Global favorites will just apply across any of the same fixture type in the same mode, okay? So if I were to patch in that other mode 89 from a different folder, it would actually show up as a separate line right here. And that would ruin any global favorites that I have saved into my Titan Tube Helios line right here. This profile would hold all of that global color information. And if I had Nix bulbs here, even though it's using the same color engine because it's in the same mode and it's from Astera, it wouldn't be able to apply those global favorites. I would have to use universal favorites. And that might not make such a huge difference right now, but as we build Blackout more, you're going to want to pay attention what you're saving into a global favorite and what you're saving into a universal favorite. So I'm going to patch this same profile now for my Nix bulbs. I'm just going to simply rename this Nix channel 291. I have 8 of these, continuing off where I left off, and save these. Oh, I didn't differentiate the color, which is an easy thing because I can now go back, tap the color, and tap something maybe super light, something maybe like right there. And now let's just look at what it looks like. And yes, I can see 3 different shades. And if you wanted to make this your own colors or different contrast, whatever, you're welcome to do so. Okay, so the 300 series are up. Let's go ahead and patch the Kinos. So I'm going to add from fixture database, scroll down to Kino. I know it's running the latest firmware, 5.0. This is all of their color lights. And I'm gonna go to profile 26, which is most like a Skypanel. Crossfade and RGB 16-bit. I'm gonna continue where I left off. I have celebs, so I'm just gonna relabel this celeb. These are gonna be in the 301s. I have 2 of these, and then I'm gonna make it some kind of like Kino yellow, but maybe, yeah, a little darker because I don't want it to interfere with my highlight. So if I go to channel view, you can see these are here, but I can still see that I'm highlighting them like this because we have a yellow highlight, right? Okay, so then the 400s are up. ETC Series 3 Lustrs. Add from fixtures, add from fixture database, and let's just go to ETC here. And I know that there's really only one mode you want to use when using those. So it's the expanded mode. continue where I left off. This is fine. We're gonna do channel 401. Oop. And we have 4 of these. Save this. Again, I forgot to color these. And this is kind of like a dark blue. Maybe we'll go dark blue here. Okay, and then 501s, Fiilex Q5s. So if I just search, oops, don't have it, add from Fixture database, search here for Q5, Fiilex color series, boom. So let's see, what's a good profile? Let's do CCT and HSI 16-bit. Save on a couple channels by not using RGBW. And these are gonna be 501. I have 2 of these. These are Q5s. Get rid of these. Fiilex is red, right? Red in their logo, something like that, cool. Done, save. Which leaves Digital Sputniks, DS9. So add fixtures, add from Fixture database. Let's look up Digital Sputnik. Okay, so I'm just gonna use these in 1 pixel mode. So the XFade 16 works for me. Patch this. I have 2 of these DS9s. I'm gonna label this DS9. This is gonna be 601. I have 2 of these. And what do I wanna make these? Maybe green. Cool. So now that I have everything patched, well, the one thing we didn't patch were the Ratpacs. I could patch those at this time, and I don't know why people insist on making custom profiles for their Ratpacs. All a Ratpac is a series of dimmers in a box. So all you really need to do is tap patch dimmers, and then you can patch however many you want. So we have 3 Ratpacs, right? So 2 each with 10 channels and 1 with 12 channels. But say I just wanted to patch in like 2 boxes right now because I know I'm not gonna use all 3 of them at once. So if I just put the amount to 20 here, again, I saved those first 100 channels for labeling for small dimmers and Ratpacs like this. I now have 20 dimmers saved into channels 1 through 20 right here. And there you go. Now, if you really wanted that label, you can actually go back and you can tap these, maybe in this first Ratpac box, right? And label this Ratpac so that you know, boom, this is from your Ratpac. And now you have that label there. So an easy little thing that you can do. You don't need to create a custom fixture for your Ratpac. Okay, so now that I'm at this point, this is where you wanna save. So you go back and you swipe left on your location and go ahead and export this locally, export this to your email. Maybe you're gonna end up sending this to your rigging gaffer or rigging programmer, or maybe another person who's going to run a small tandem set one day. Save this somewhere so that you have this to go back to in case you mess something up. Then what I like to do is for every location that I go to, I will actually label this one template show file. And then I will swipe left and I will clone this. And I will use this clone by renaming this to whatever location that we're going to. So maybe we're going to a diner location. So I save this as the diner. I tap into the diner, and now I have that perfect show file that I can now mess up because I can always go back to my template show file and clone it again to start fresh. So now I'm here, and maybe this one, maybe I know I'm not going to use any dimmers or any Skypanels. So, and I have 2 extra Asteras Titan kits, right? So I can go add fixtures, and I know I'm going to go ahead and patch more Asteras. So I patch this, and I know I need to patch in 16 of these, right? It's like, where am I gonna fit those in? Well, if I'm not gonna patch, if I'm not gonna use any of my Skypanels, I can patch directly over this. So if I tap this, look at, they fit within all of these Skypanels right here. I can label these rigging or day playing Titans. And then I can put these into some other color. Maybe I put these into this like teal, or maybe orange, something like that. And then I can put these into somewhere far away from anything that I'm using. Maybe I'll put all the rigging stuff in the 901s, or maybe there'll be 1000s, right? So maybe I'll do these as 901 through 916. And if I save these, I'm going to overwrite all of my Skypanels because I have no fear, because I can go back to my template location. And now if I scroll all the way down, you can see here are my new rigging titans. And now I have used that same template show file to add in new fixtures, keep it all within one universe. If I'm, say, going around with the moonlight and I'm not doing effects, or if I am doing effects and I'm going around with the Ratpac AKS, it makes this super simple to kind of adjust on the fly just by simply cloning your location. So definitely keep that in mind as a big pro tip in terms of managing show files. In the world of film, speed is king, and being able to deliver what your DPs and gaffers want immediately is key. So a well-organized patch is the first route to success. So once you're done patching, you should have a very good understanding of where your fixtures are. If someone were to call a 100 number, I know it's an ARRI Skypanel. If someone were to call a 200 number, I know it's an Asteras tube. So know your numbers. But that leads me to the next series of tips about controlling your fixtures in Blackout. So your gaffer calls in his first 2 lights, and there are 2 Asteras Titan tubes that he wants in a Kino flow housing behind a door to glow a little window that it has, maybe for like a doctor's office, right? So maybe your technician's bringing in and they tell you it's 201 and 202. I'm going to immediately record this into a group so that I remember this selection. I'm going to record this as group 1, and I'm just gonna label this door light. Maybe I'll even walkie the gaffer just to save us both trouble and say, hey, let's call this the door light. That way he can just say, hey, let's bring the door light up to 50%, and I can just select this, and I already have this on my command line ready to take those changes. Now, in my experience, gaffers tend to call dimmer levels before they call color temperature, but they want to see the light come up in the color temperature at that dim level. So say the gaffer says, I want to see that door light at 50%, 5600 Kelvin. What I'm going to do is take my door light and I'm going to do CCT at 5600, enter at 50, time, and press enter. This way, the light is at 5600 and it's going to sneak up to 50% as a nice fade without blinding anybody. And now you have the light at 50% and 5600 Kelvin for the gaffer. Now you saw me use my time button to gradually fade up these fixtures on set as a courtesy. That time button is using the default time of 3 seconds, but you can change that by going into your settings and changing that here. So maybe some gaffers want to see it up quicker, so you put it to 2 seconds, or maybe some gaffers want to see it up slower, so you put it to 4 seconds. Whatever it is, you can save that, go back into your location, and use that as your default time button. But you can also sneak this up using an actual time. So if I tap these and I go to at full and I put time 5 and I press enter, it's gonna take 5 seconds to go from 50 to 100%. So it's another way to just quickly sneak up lights to a level without blinding anyone on set by doing an instant on. I love using the keypad because it's fast, it's accurate, and you don't have to mess around with any sliders and getting it perfect. Now, if you find yourself a little frustrated using the keypad, I promise you it gets better, but we do allow you to change some settings which may enhance your experience. If you go back to the locations page, you can tap settings and you'll see that we allow you to change several different things. One of them is the number pad uses a factor of 10 times. So if we were to go ahead and turn this on, and go back into our location, say I wanted this dimmer to go to 20%. Instead of typing at 20, I can actually type at 2, enter, and it multiplies it by 10. So it saves a little bit on keystrokes. Let's go to the next setting. 1 press full or out. This is a setting when you know you want to put a fixture at full, or when you want to put a fixture at out, you want to just do it immediately. And it just saves you a little bit more on a keystroke. So I can go ahead and take this and I can just press full, or I can press out, and there you go. I didn't need to press at. Scroll wheel activates without an at button. So if I turn this on, be warned that if you have this jostling around as you're carrying it, you could activate the scroll wheel accidentally, which is why we have this disabled by default. But if we go back into my location, I can now select any of my fixtures and the scroll wheel is immediately active. Another setting that this scroll wheel activates without at button adjusts is the plus and minus percent buttons. Those we have right now set by default to 5 points, which you can also adjust this to percentage and put anything that you wanted. So say you have a very tweaking DP and he goes up and down 1 point all the time. If I save this and I go back into my diner location, I can go ahead and take a fixture, and without pressing at, these are going to auto terminate, and I can go up or down 1 point at a time really quickly. Another thing is, if you're trying to get an accurate number into a field and you can't type it, all you need to do is drop down the channel table view, and now you can tap into a parameter and use the keypad as normal. You can also see the DMX values that you are sending to each parameter. Live Summary is a great tool for seeing what is actually in play at that moment. It's where I spend 99% of my time because I really don't care for anything that's not in play. But just remember, if you are going to select through a number of fixtures, it will select the entire range. Also, don't forget about channel check. Channel check is one of the most useful tools in this console. Say these 16 rigging Titan tubes were hung in a U shape on the inside of the diner, and I wanted to quickly flash through them. I could easily do this with the channel check feature in Blackout. I would take my first fixture in the series, type flash flash, which is channel check, type what percentage I want it to be at. Say I wanted to flash these at 75% and press enter. You can see this goes to 75%. Now I can next and last my way through these fixtures to check to make sure that they are in the right order. If you're constantly using the same colors, it's time to save it as a favorite. Take whatever color, or maybe it's just CCT and tint that you're using all the time. Record this by selecting one of the fixtures into a favorite. Tap whatever parameters that you want to save. These are the categories that you can save. And if you just want color information, tap color. Give it some kind of label. And then if it's a global, it's going to apply across any of that same fixture type in that same mode. So I know that all of my Asteras are in that same mode. So this global will be able to apply to any of them. But if I wanted this to also apply to my Skypanels, I would need this to save as a universal favorite. Fixture-specific favorites are basically a quick way to save the selection along with the favorite for one-touch access. So say I have these 16 Astera Titan tubes that the riggers hung in the ceiling, and I had these all at different levels and different color temperatures, and it's like that look that we're constantly playing. I will save this as a fixture-specific favorite as an all favorite. And maybe I'll label this red, and maybe I'll start this actually at 101, and these are gonna be my all favorites, right? And I'm gonna put these as rig Titans. Now, say we wanted to kill them to save battery because the riggers didn't wire them and it was a really quick set. I could take these out, but I could just one tap, boom, and get these all back to where they were without having to recall the selection or any of the parameters. They're all saved right here. And I could be going through different looks and I could still recall this exact look on just those lights. This is also a great way to run a stage with multiple sets. Instead of saving looks, and when you go to a new look, everything changes, that set goes out, this one comes on, save those groups of lights in that set, in this set, as a fixture specific all favorite, and then you can easily activate that favorite independently of whatever look you're in. Lastly, we don't have a complete blind editing mode just yet, but if you're just doing intensity changes, you can pull out the looks expanded view and change intensities right here. So say channel 1, you want it to be at 20% this whole way through. If I tap the top column and I type 20 and I press enter, you can actually change that percentage all the way through all of your looks. Or I can easily just tap in a singular cell and change that one. This is a quick way to adjust intensities blindly. And when you go back here, you can go back and you can see your changes all the way through. Now we don't have the ability to change the parameters within this looks expanded mode, but what I have seen people do is set all of their gateways to taking in just one protocol, whether it's ArtNet or SACN. So say I had all of my gateways set to SACN only mode. Then if I'm in SACN and I change to ArtNet, my SACN stream would stop and I would technically now be in blind mode. So whatever changes I make would not be going through my nodes to my fixtures. Then when I want to go back to live, I just switch back to the correct protocol and you're good to go. Hopefully those best practices help you think of ways that you can improve your workflow on set. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite tips and tricks are. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.